It is the 18th of November, 2021. I am professional podcast personality, Commander JN Trax, and this is the Loose Screws podcast. And by professional, I mean I've been paid to podcast before. Not on this show, mind you, because this show is worthless.
Man.
Rude.
And not anybody's going to jump in and correct me and say priceless, huh?
When you're preaching truth, it is what it is.
We know what we are, Trax.
We are very self-aware.
Joining me tonight is Commander Nergal. How are you?
I tell you what, let me go last. I have some story time.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're all
back up to the top of the order. Jay Barron, the Bard, back again. Hi, sir.
Hola. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Pretty good. Glad I got off work good enough time to be live with y'all.
Yeah, that's always fun. Excellent. Commander Chig is here. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Commander Dubs, how are you? How's your Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi, I mean, I don't really use it, but, you know, it sucks enough that the headset didn't like it.
Commander Lieutenant Commander Data.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Thanks for asking.
Hey, Nergal's here, everyone.
Yeah, finally.
What's up with that guy?
I've been busy. So, all right, I have to tell a story in order to tell a story, but I'll be brief. So,
no, you won't.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
Or boxers, but briefs are fine too.
Oh God! All right, so
that was it. I was looking for a joke in there and I couldn't get there, but you got my back.
So, in case I fumble this and mix metaphors later, it's important to know that my wife's sister married my cousin. Okay.
So, is that the story?
You live in the state of
denial.
So for the rest of my life, I get to tell people my sister married my cousin and get that look. It's priceless. But anyway, so about 7 or 8 years ago, he's building a little playhouse for his daughter out behind his house. And it's just a little wooden structure up off the ground, little playhouse on top, slide on the side of it. And him and his father were going to put the upright post in the ground during the week because he lives about 50 miles away from me, so that the cement would be set so that when me and some other people came over on Saturday, everything would be locked in and we would just build the rest of it. So I get over there the day that we're going to build the rest of this thing and find out that the 10 uprights he has put in the ground are pressure-treated 8x8 posts, sunk 4 feet in the ground, 6 feet above it. And I've joked with him ever since that the next time we have a hurricane come through, I'm just going to come stay in the playhouse because it'll outlast everything else.
That's extreme.
Okay. So fast forward, we talked a couple of weeks ago about my wife's mother finally finding a house and moving in, and my envy issues with this house and everything else.
Future home. Yeah.
Yeah, my future home. But don't interdict me. Okay, don't.
This story took a turn.
It did. Coming for you.
I'm trying to get back to a port. So we got them moved in. The house they're in it's not a 2-story house, but the house is built up off the ground. The entire bottom 1,700 square feet is just one giant workroom, but the living space is up above it. Her mother is in her late 70s and doesn't move that well. Her stepfather's in his early 80s, needs to have a hip replacement. So when they moved in, one of the first things we did was we just stuck this jib off the back of the big porch they have on the back of the house. My cousin had this old electric boat winch, and we just ran a cable and put a basket down there. So when they go to the store and buy groceries and stuff, they can just put them in the basket and winch it up without having to worry about carrying them up the stairs. And we were going to come back and build a ramp so they don't have to negotiate the stairs and they can just walk up. So get over there 2 weeks ago when we're going to build the ramp. I drive onto the lot, and what is the first thing I see? A stack of 8x8 pressure treated 8 by 8.
By 8 posts. Oh my goodness.
And those things, I don't even want to imagine what those things cost. And he's got like 10 or 12 of them out there ready to go in the ground. But anyway, so we proceed to put these posts in the ground. And the point of all that is today I had my first day of physical therapy for a rotator cuff injury.
Oh no. Man.
Jeez.
It's not a tear, at least, so there's no surgery in my future, but I have a strained rotator cuff, and I can't lift my arm up above my shoulder.
And like the holes that'll have to be dug for 8 by 8 posts.
Well, that's
Even
not so
more,
much a
right?
problem because, like I say, he lives 50 miles away from me. He actually lives on a farm. They lease out most of their land, but so he's got tractors and hydraulic post hole diggers, and that's not that big a deal. But you still got to manhandle that 10-foot long 8 by 8, and let me tell you,
That's a big boy.
You have to go through special effort to get something that size.
And I have never asked what source he has for these things, but. And again, so now the joke is, if there's ever a hurricane, I'm just going to come hide out under the ramp because it's not going anywhere.
Yep. Hurricane prep's a bitch, huh?
Yeah, it depends. If it's a Category 1 hurricane, I'm going to work. But if it's a Category 3 hurricane, you have my attention.
Yeah.
And it depends on where it is. There are a lot of things that go into that. I mean, I shouldn't joke about it.
I was trying to make a joke about how you keep trying to prep for hurricanes when you're doing what ought to be minor construction.
Yeah, it's true. Well, sometimes they overlap.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Cool. Well, I mean, not cool that your shoulder's hurt. That's very bad.
Well, hopefully this too shall pass.
Yeah.
There go your dreams of pitching for the Mets.
I had dreams of pitching for the Mets.
I don't know. You're old. You've probably had all kinds of dreams. I don't know.
You've had a lot of years to have a lot of dreams.
Brushed.
Yeah, this is the point where I mentioned my physical therapist, who unfortunately is male. He's younger than my oldest child.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
It is.
Eventually. Having any fun in the game then?
Kind of. I haven't really had a lot of. Yeah, I know. I haven't really had a lot of chance to play for a while there, but and we've gotten really busy. We'll cover that in a squad update later. But
sure,
got to get involved in some of that. Hopefully, some more this week and this weekend.
Right on. Hey, Data, how have you been? I definitely haven't talked to you in a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you've been coming around on stream nights and stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've been doing well. Gotten to play most nights this week. Haven't always hopped in voice because I haven't been on for very long.
Sure.
Working the war in 7 Andro has pretty much filled the little bit of time I've had this week. Been doing like Chig and I were talking about just before we started recording. Been doing a couple of high intensity ground CZs just to try something different. Having a bit of fun with those. Make a little bit better money than in space. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's worth more money. That's cool. Is it performing okay for you?
It's been going okay. The graphics wise and like frame rate consistency wise, yes, my settings are tweaked. Feel like I've got it good enough for me. Now the AI, the I part of that AI, it's a lowercase I, not an uppercase I. They are stupid. The AI is not smart on the ground.
Is that new, or is that an existence thing?
I don't think so. I think it's always been this way.
It's if you think we're smooth brained, the AI and CZs is oh my god, it's like a troop of dubs is running around. It's amazing.
Maybe we just notice it more now because we're not so distracted by
on
poor
the bad performance.
Yeah.
Wow, now that my
Yeah.
computer's running smooth, I'm kicking their ass.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys are
Yeah.
idiots.
Pretty much like just unintelligent, like not moving around intelligently, not running behind cover when
Yeah.
you can
All the
you can
things they were
cheese.
supposed to do.
Yeah, you can cheese it to where when you hit them once, it usually takes 2 shots to kill them because damage doesn't bleed through the shield after you break their shield. It doesn't,
Right.
their shield breaks. It doesn't take down their armor, and they stagger. They stagger when you hit them once to break their shield, so they don't move. So you don't have to move. You're aiming at them. You can get them
we're
with their
talking
second
about
shot.
the that plasma sniper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is there a different weapon we could use?
Yeah, you can use the plasma shotgun too if they're really close to you.
Okay. So basically, hey, FDev, we're getting more than 30 frames a second. You can turn the AI back now.
And like I'll see them on the radar, a bunch of red dots like around the corner, and it's just me defending a control point, and they don't come around the corner and rush. So I just stand there and take the control point without it being contested. Like they don't react unless you go shoot at them first. Sometimes, still is fun, but
they're all too scared to go around the corner and face that plasma sniper.
Yeah.
Or if they do come around the corner, most of them will turn around and go somewhere else while the one gets murdered.
Yeah.
They do not care.
Run away!
Sorry, bro, we're fucking out of here.
Yeah, I mean, if they gang up on me, I'll get killed if I don't run away. I mean, that can definitely happen on foot. But they don't do that. Usually.
It happens occasionally. Yeah, the AI protecting the crashed nav beacons are far superior to the ones that are inside the CZs.
I usually kill
those guys will actually swarm you. They're a little smarter.
Interesting. I wonder what the difference is. Wow.
I feel like they turned the AI smartness down because we were all getting super low frame rates. That's my theory.
They kept talking about the nav mesh in these update.
Right, it needed to be simplified because it was causing a bunch of extra processing to happen.
We just turned it off.
Yeah,
so
now they just don't navigate.
Stand your ground. That's what it is.
Terrible. Cool. Dubs, what about you, man?
Me? Oh shit.
How you been?
I've been fine, I guess. I realized that my networking hardware is not good enough now.
That's my fault.
Other than that, yeah, I mean, it's not really
no.
fault.
It's not my fault that it's not good enough. It's my fault that you became aware of it.
Yeah. That's basically how it went down. But you know what? I'm gonna spend money and make it better. I'm gonna go ahead and get that Oculus Quest 2 to perform well on a wireless network. If it's the last thing I do, and then
people say it works.
I might just break it anyways because I hate that piece of shit.
Wow. Had any time to play games lately?
Yeah, I've been playing Elite.
We haven't gathered in 2 weeks, you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not
that's
just
true.
me this time.
It was Dubs' fault.
Whoa, hey now.
Y'all can blame as much as you want.
Well, you guys tried to blame me, but I was at. I'll tell you where I was at when it's my turn to talk.
I mean, I think
I wasn't pointing the finger at anybody.
It's definitely Chick's fault.
Yeah,
always Chick's fault.
Time is a blur to me, so every week is the same, and I don't even know how long it's been.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 2 whole weeks. I mean, my brain doesn't really see that far into the past or the future.
Smooth brain.
I have a very simple mind. It only thinks about a couple of things at a time.
Time as a circle. Something. Time as a circle.
Glassy smooth, no wrinkles.
Yeah. That sounds good. Let's let Chig go now. Chig, where were you last week? What the hell, man?
Last
week. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, every other Thursday you have your other podcast. I'll slow down when I speak instead of rambling super fast. So we know you're not going to be here, and Ty. I don't know what happened to him. He's been kind of AWOL for a while. So I usually pick up the mantle and helm this thing. I don't know what this thing is, but I try to guide the ship a little bit.
Do you mean you take control of loosescrewsed.com where you can get t-shirts, mugs, and more?
Wait, hold
Exactly.
on. What was the name of that website? I missed
That website's loosescrewsed.com where you can get t-shirts, mugs, and more.
Loosescrewsed.com?
That's the one.
Yep.
What does
So
the ED stand for? I sure hope it's Elite Dangerous. Because there's one other thing that can happen with
And
Loose
back to
Screws.
Chig's story.
if you go over to loosescrewsed.com, you can now get a consoles t-shirt. Am I right?
When you're
Just
right.
thought I'd
Yeah, I'm right.
plug that.
Yeah, the new
Frontier
Am
may
I
have given
Right
up on the
consoles
consoles,
Am
but
I
we
Right
didn't.
t-shirts have
Yes.
come around. They've been added to the store. So in case you're not a member of Discord, if you're not a member of Discord, I don't know why you would even consider that inside joke to be something funny. But if you do, then go punish me by buying one.
Punish you. Do we have to call you
won't
daddy?
regret it as much as I do.
That was
You call him. You
I thought
call
we
him
switched to
daddy
mommy.
if he's punishing you. That's how that goes.
Okay. So then it's mommy when we're punishing him.
Yes,
God,
yes,
you're
exactly.
a misogynistic pig.
Anyway, so
Where
back
were
to
we?
the story.
Oh yeah. So last Thursday, I wasn't going to go. My daughter's been helping on the school play. She's not actually in the play. She was like assistant to the director, whatever the fuck, she was supposed to.
Oh, she's an
You're
executive
Rudy.
producer.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she was like Alec Baldwin, only not armed. But she,
Oh,
she
She'd have taken a
was,
gun.
she was like put in charge of making sure that one of the actors got on stage on time and stuff. And I'm like, well, should the actor be paying attention and know when that is? I found out why that is after we actually went to the play. Okay, this play was set in 1937 Ireland, and all of these high school students were trying to do Irish accents.
oh no.
It was very painful. And then the actor that my daughter was helping with his stuff, he came out. He doesn't come in until about 20 minutes into the play, and it's already painful. And he comes out, and it's a German foreign exchange student attempting to do an Irish accent, speaking English, which is his second language. So it was, it was the highlight of the night for me because I thought it was supposed to be a joke, but this was more of a drama than a comedy. So it was a very, very painful night. I should have just started streaming from there on my phone and brought Craig into channel on Discord, and we could have published that as our podcast last week. But I decided not to torture everybody with that.
Sort of a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing.
Kind of, yeah. It would have been weird. And like two of the kids were wearing masks, the rest weren't. I mean, it was very, very Twilight Zone like. So there was that. So we didn't have a podcast last week, and we won't have one next week because it's going to be Turkey Day. I don't know if we're going to try to sneak. Went in the night, but as far as in game, I got back from my expedition, suckers. So now I'm plant gunning elite. So now I'm quad elite. I never want to plant gun anything ever again. But then I say that I'm doing these planetary things, and I know which plants are worth a lot of credits because I've done it so much that I have been grabbing the very pricey ones when I see them. That's just stupid. I'm an idiot. We're working on CQC. And that's all I've been doing. No, now I'm doing, God damn it. I'm doing this ground crap and this engineering on the ground. If you thought the space engineering was a pain in the ass, you should try this ground Odyssey engineering if you haven't. I actually downloaded Asteroid, Down to Earth Astronomy, showed an app called ED Odyssey Materials Helper. I don't know how I do it without that, because there's a shit ton of mats. Half of them don't do anything. They're literally just vendor trash. But unlike in
but
World
you need
of
them
Warcraft,
to trade, right?
No, they're literally just trash.
Some of them
They're
you
like
can't
a
trade.
gray item in World of Warcraft. You can't trade them. You can't do anything other than just sell them. So
They're filler.
yeah, that literal filler.
God.
But
Make you waste
don't
more time
know
grinding.
that. Yeah. So
I gotta
but
rush
they
out
also
and buy me some Odyssey.
they also count towards your 1,000 cap of items. So you need to know which ones to be selling away so you can gather more of the other stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a very, very convoluted system. I think that whoever designed this system should start speaking in an Irish accent, because I think that they're drunk as fuck. And
What
I
are you
hope
going
they
against
fix
the
it
Irish?
soon. Nothing. I appreciate people that drink. They just don't make good decisions. That's all I'm saying.
Only when they're sober they don't make good decisions.
Oh no!
That was about the level of the high school kids. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's about it for me. The ground CZs, as Data said, yeah, the AI is pretty unintelligent. It's that they're really easy to win, and I think if you're at a war going and doing a bunch of ground CZs, if you just want to make sure you're going to win it, you can win a bunch of them, and they pay decent credits. So, yeah, there's that at least. But that's it for me.
Bad guys move in predictable patterns.
And we should add in here that not only did Chig reach quad elite in the past week, but Single Malt Scotty prestiged in CQC.
Yep. So
which is a big deal.
He's about 8% of the way to elite in CQC.
Do you have to prestige in CQC, or can you just sit there gaining more rank?
No, you'll stop ranking. Well, you'll gain more rank. Yes, you'll gain more XP, and you'll go up the in-game ranks. Again, you don't have to prestige more, but you prestige and you get that system permit that it credits you for. So all you really need to do is prestige once, then get to level 50 again. But if you want to get all 8 prestiges, so you get to level 59 frickin' times, then then you do that. Then there's no more prestiges, and you're just gaining experience, and that's the boat.
What do you get for the 8th prestige?
The permit to the system you already got 8 times previous.
That's definitely worth it.
Every time you prestige and you do the reset to reset your prestige, you get them in-game mail saying, "Congratulations, you've earned this permit." Like, oh, great, it's the same
so
one
allowed
again. I can go as many times as I want, 8 times over. It's great. But yeah, they need. I don't know. Some people suggested I should just babble on about what I think they need to do to fix CQC. Maybe I'll go on that rant one of these days. But
you said that was going to happen on an episode when I wasn't here.
Exactly. That's why I'm not doing it now.
So next week.
I'll come on Thanksgiving and just rant about CQC for an hour.
Yeah, it's just Chig tonight. Feel free to turn this off. But if you don't,
cheese and CQC. Yep, here we go. And I've been drinking. If you don't like it, fuck you.
This will be my second year deep frying a turkey for Thanksgiving, and I'm excited to do that again.
Fantastic.
So good.
It was really yummy last year.
Nice. One more at the top, Bard. What's been cracking? What's new? What's shaking this week, man?
Oh man, I've been bit by the need for speed, bug lately. Just racing around, causing trouble, being chased by cops. Yeah, it's been fun. That's what I've been doing. I have not been playing a whole lot of Elite, but yeah, that's just kind of what I've been.
You've been illegally driving your motor vehicle?
Yes.
Oh,
all over the place. On off-roading it and all that, breaking stuff, getting away with it.
Well, it's fortunate that nobody listens to the show, so you're still safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not breaking it. You ain't doing it right.
Pretty much. Duh.
Okay.
But,
We're talking about a game, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
100%
Need
a
for
game.
Speed.
Need for
Not
Speed.
outrunning the cops in real life. I hope. And if
No,
you
no.
are, that's a fast car.
More
Yeah.
power to you.
Yeah, no. Need for Speed. Yeah, that's what I've been playing. Kind of a big name title.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. God, I remember that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So one of those in fact, I think it was the first Hot Pursuit. That's the one that I played when I was a kid.
Yeah. The very first one that I played, you got 3 chances of getting busted by the cops, and that was that
Right.
that little mini movie of that cop saying, "I'm saying your accelerator was stuck, so I'm gonna let you go with a warning." That's what I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Earliest one. I can't remember.
I don't remember cutscenes. I wonder if my computer sucked too much to play cutscenes. But I remember that you'd get stopped and they would like wag a finger at you and you'd drive off. And
Yep.
Well, I got to play a little bit. Well, I popped in for CQC night on Tuesday. CQC night was fun. It was Musketeer free this time, so the rest of us got to play.
Nice.
That we
Although there
couldn't
was
get
another-
capture the flag to launch. Though.
That's right. It wouldn't launch. Yeah, we couldn't get capture the flag to launch. We did do some team deathmatch, although it inexplicably split us into 2 groups at one point, and then we had to remerge them. And then I think we ended up going back to deathmatch, didn't we?
Did you happen to see the stream today where they were doing the CQC? I'm just mentioning it. The first match they started, there were 6 people in the lobby. It started the game 4v2.
Nice.
I mean, honestly,
that's-
the game literally can't divide a number in 2. It was amazing.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's almost
best
like
part
it's
is,
an
like,
unfinished project.
Yeah, it so clearly doesn't even try to balance, because like we were playing with you and Single Malt, who are level 50, and then a bunch of us in the 20s, and I think one person was new that night. They like level 8 by the time we got to this point in the night, and it would pile the 2 50s on the same team. And then and at one point, well, anyway, whatever. I don't have to keep going on about this, but the point is, it's clearly just a roll of the dice, right? Who goes on what team, and including how many go on each team. Just amazing.
RNG for matchmaking
with a lowercase I, boys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in on you there. Just you're mentioning the matchmaking, and capture the flag not launching, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of
In
wild.
good news, I was able to apply an experimental to my new size 6 FSD, boys.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get
Hell
there.
yeah.
Settle down. On topic for discussion tonight. All right. Yeah, well that's fine. That's about all that's going on. I played a different game last night because I only had a few minutes. Because you get that.
Game did you play?
It's a big update, wasn't it, for that game?
Into the Radius, yeah, their 2.0 came out. Everything's better. Anyway, I don't need to. It's a VR game that's like based on the same literary work that the Stalker games are based on. If anybody's familiar with those, so it's very Russia and odd anomalies and nuclear weirdness and crap that goes on. Radiation and horrible, weird, scary monsters, and it's a survival game.
I picture like it's Russian weirdness. I'm picturing a guy fighting a bear and a girl in a bikini sitting in the snow and just the weird shit they do, shooting a bazooka.
Adidas track pants.
Okay, so it's not exactly that.
Okay.
It's like a particular area where weird space-time anomalies happen all around, and bizarre monsters that sort of defy physics exist, and you kind of play this this like mercenary scavenger type of thing. You're tasked with going on missions to go and recover things from inside or do research inside and try to survive. So the whole thing is, keeping track of all you're carrying, the weight you're carrying. You have to feed yourself. You have to sleep enough to stay alive. Avoid the weird space-time anomalies that will disintegrate your bones, and the monsters that are trying to kill you. And manage ammunition and everything, and you had to load bullets into magazines and keep track of all the different types of ammunition. And the new update updates the graphics and improves the performance pretty significantly, and everything's really great about it. And I'm pretty happy with how fun that is, and it would be even more fun with a wireless VR headset, which is why Debs and I were chatting about that stuff, because that's like a someday for me, when somebody besides Oculus decides to make one, because I'm not.
Because you do the cord running along the ceiling down to your head thing.
I actually gave up on putting it on the ceiling because it doesn't get twisted any less when it's on the ceiling versus the floor. But at least when it's on the floor, I can duck down, which I need to do quite a lot, actually, when I'm avoiding incoming fire and stuff like that.
So my ceiling version, I've wrapped it around my neck a few times where, you're spinning around and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, God.
That annoyed me because it would pull on my head, too. Like, my headset would get pulled to the side, and then my eyes aren't in the sweet spot, and it's out of focus, and it irritates me. So eventually, I just gave up on my ceiling thing. The ceiling thing's fine for, like, Beat Saber. Right, get it out of your way. You're going to be basically facing the same direction the whole time. But now I just clip it to like the back of my belt, so it's kind of fixed behind me with enough room, and that's pretty good. And I can just step over it; it's fine.
Right on.
But someday I'd love to have a true wireless, but can't be an Oculus because
don't
fuck those guys.
They have not, even without the Facebook lock-in stuff, which I guess they may be reversing. They haven't opened up their system at all. They haven't added features that have been requested for 4 years that other platforms have. And I just really want to be on something that can natively run Steam VR or just Open VR at all, because I don't want to be locked in to a system that isn't going to allow plugins and stuff like that, because that's what's going to keep you from having the latest features in games. So fuck Oculus.
Yes, no proprietary nonsense.
Nope.
Anyway, they say that they're gonna loosen up on the Facebook restrictions, but then they're just gonna call it Meta and lock it down again.
Yeah, does that mean I have to have a Meta account now?
Yes, it's
probably.
Oculus is going away, right? The Oculus brand, it's going to be called Meta or something like that.
I think.
Well, Facebook is going away. I'm sure they're just going to push Oculus into Meta. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
The Facebook company renamed to Meta, and then Oculus and Facebook, the website that is a social network, is like spinning off into its own thing that is still called Facebook. It's just now like a sub company of the overall company that used to be Facebook and is now Meta.
Mm-hmm. All right,
I think
sounds
I
like a
understand
lot
that correctly.
More people
still don't
start
like
speaking with Irish accents.
It's meaningless. It's not going to like it's a bunch of corporate shuffling. It doesn't mean anything. But they did say they were going to relax the restriction. But I think the only reason they're doing that is because of the crap that goes down. Like when Facebook was down for like half a day, people couldn't play VR games, and that looked very bad.
Wild story came out of that. Like when they were trying, they ran some diagnostic on one of their server farms, right, to test it, and it triggered this failure. I don't know the specifics. I'm not smart. But like to get to it, there's such like everything is so automated. There's no physical staffing anywhere at these server farms. Right. They had to like physically cut their way into the building and cut into this server racks to get to this thing to push the reset button on it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Big smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I did last night. Because with Elite, you don't really want to get on if you can only play for like half an hour or something sometimes. Right. But anyway, let's get into some Elite talk.
Not
that we haven't been. What?
So why start now?
All right, let's talk about what's going on with the faction. I hear there's quite a bit of it. Here comes a sound.
Incoming priority message. Squadron briefing.
Since last we talked, in the before times 2 weeks ago.
You mean the long ago?
We finally took control of the long ago, in the before times. We finally took control of 6 Andromeda. We are currently in 1 war and 2 elections for control of systems. So we're fighting the war in 7 Andromeda, which hopefully will be finished tonight. Tonight should be win number 4. We have elections in, and we're all going to disagree on how to pronounce this, either Wodiwodi, or something else. And in BD+67 and then some numbers. We have elections for control of those systems. I can't remember which. There's so many BD systems. It's one of those. And then we've got a couple, or I think it's 4 at last count, of the really, common problem systems for us that are trying to overheat and expand, that we're trying to tamp down some, because we really don't want to expand again right now. We've got multiple systems that we need to consolidate and kind of get control of and get our house back in order. And we're kind of keeping an eye on how to word this without overselling it. There's the possibility that one of our more desirable systems is going to become available or be in a position where we could expand into it here in the near future. And honestly, trying to say any more than that would be a half an hour of explanation, which nobody wants to hear. So we want to keep ourselves from going into expansion, but maintain readiness in case we need to quickly. And I think we're positioned pretty well for that right now. We just have to keep these 4 little out of control systems from getting completely out of hand, and we'll be in good shape. But that's what's going on. Plenty to do. This is another one of those cases where no matter how you like to play the game, there is a way to do that and influence the BGS along the way.
All right.
Speaking of Elite Dangerous and our Loose Screws Squadron, you can buy Loose Screws merch at loosescrewsed.com. You heard me. loosescrewsed.com. Back to you, Jack Trax.
You almost fuck his name up.
I think he ran away.
Yep,
Trax,
he's running off. Oh, he's running off to buy a hoodie from the website. He said he'll be right back.
All right. So, well, then in the absence of Trax, just move on to what's next on the notes.
How's your contest to Elite going with Hate?
Well, so I know, because we haven't talked about this on the podcast so far, but Hate and I both hit deadly in Elite combat at the same time. I think actually I hit 0% deadly and he was at 99% dangerous, but we were both at the same time. Yes. Now you're.
Oh, my mic came back. Hey, look at that.
Hey.
Sorry. Go on.
So anyway, we're both racing towards Elite combat rank, and I see Hate updated. So I'm currently sitting at 10% in the slow going, and Hate apparently updated the note to say he's at -12. Yes, negative.
That was me. He didn't.
Oh, that was you. Okay. So Hate is not here tonight to update that. Last I heard earlier this week, he was at 8%, and
That's not what his Inara says.
Is it updated?
No, the Inara says he's still mastered. He must not be running his EDMC.
That's clearly not updated.
Yeah. Or is that his Xbox account?
No, his Xbox account is already Elite.
Okay.
So yeah, this is his PC account. So we haven't decided yet what we're going to do for who gets to Elite first, but we'll figure something out.
Oh,
cool.
At this rate, I'm going to be elite CQC before you guys are elite combat. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, and for anybody who's actually done that last slog through deadly to elite, I mean, that's like half of all of your total combat ranking right there.
Yep.
And it just takes
Rookie.
forever. It's not uncommon for a CZ to be less than 1% progress. So
often. I would say it's very common.
That's true. Yeah, it's probably, it is common for a CZ to net you less than 1%.
Yep.
So,
I mean, in a high CZ, they're still not all elite opponents.
Right.
So a lot of the kills you're making, you're not even getting any credit for.
Yeah, it's a slog. Luckily, though, we've had a lot of wars lately, so I've been able to make some progress. I hope Hate has been keeping up, but I know he's got the new job, so maybe not.
And Halo Infinite multiplayer.
Oh, that's
had his
true.
Attention recently.
That's
I hope
right.
y'all aren't-
Yeah, he's
I hope
geeking
y'all
out
aren't-
on that.
Don't use ground CZs because that's not going to help that rank.
Yeah.
Don't tell
I'm
Hate
at
that.
63
Let's tell him to use
deadly.
ground CZs.
I mean,
I tell him to use that.
I've made almost all of that 10%. Well, I made like 6% of it last week. So, I mean, you can, well, if you're grinding them out, you can actually make some progress, but man, it's slow.
Yeah, I've never paid super close attention to it. It slowly grows, very slowly.
It happens when it happens.
Well, it's even slower going when you're focusing on it.
Right.
Try CQC, my friend. Jesus.
Watching that pot.
No, we don't want to do that.
All right.
That's right behind wanting to do ground engineering.
Let's talk about the in-game news, the Galnet. There's been some stuff. There's some stuff going on. Isn't that right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is this the part where I do my intro?
Yeah, I don't have a theme music for you or anything. I can play the E for you.
No. That's I got a thing. Don't worry.
Story time.
Spoken, so it shall be.
I have little sound clips of everybody.
I'm saying he's dumb.
Let's see. I think I do.
I might not know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's entirely possible. I am pretty stupid. I mean, that's not a secret. Everybody already knows that.
That's a good opening
see, we got
for anything we do. So how about we do a squad update? Bang, squadron update.
All right. That's quite enough. What about Galnet?
All right. So I'll go ahead and just jump right on into it. So last Thursday, Aiden Tanner, that idiot, starts shooting at Taurus Mining Ventures to get information on Salvation. Where he got the equipment to do this from, I don't know. Why most of those ships were outfitted for human combat, I don't know. Where he got the money for all those combat bonds, I don't know. He got his ass handed to him, thankfully. But yeah, that's where that's at. From there, Theta 7 sends an encrypted message over clear comm networks instead of the hidden channels, and ACT asks pilots to decrypt it. And gonna stall on that for a little bit and move on from there. Moving on to the Scriveners experiencing technical difficulties as Orion University holds them hostage for alumni donations. And the community then begins dumping stuff into the maw of the treasure.
Yes, feed the maw.
Feed the maw.
Slaves.
Slaves, imperial slaves. The maw desires more.
Moving on from there, and after the community starts dumping things into the dredger, shortly after that, the Theta 7 message was decoded. Apparently, he smuggled himself with the Far God cult back in July, so he's probably not there, but we can go on that in more detail later. From there, the NMLA retakes the Steel Majesty with ease, possibly an inside job. And ACT sits on its hands, and this is an update from that story. ACT sits on its hands as they move the Steel Majesty from where it was in the Hades, this sector system, whatever it was, back to Madrid. Now, if you go on to Inara and you go to the Madrid system, you'll see the Steel Majesty is sitting in there, and you'll notice a massive drop in every faction's influence to 0%. And then it rebounds right back to where it was. I've never seen anything quite like that before. So you can almost pinpoint my guess exactly when the Steel Majesty popped in the system. So I don't know what the hell's going on in there, but something's going on.
Is that their influence drop on Inara?
Yep.
Sometimes there's a date that you can see data errors in Inara, and you'll see factions plummet to 0 and then come right back to where they were. So that's not necessarily something.
Okay. But all the factions at the same time?
That's a little weird because you seldom see it with all of them, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
All the factions
it's still
time.
It's in that gray area of could be something, could be nothing.
Okay.
Like everything in this game.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
But figured I'd just kind of throw that out there to get the gears going and go, oh, what the hell's going on there? And from there, the CG starts today for saving the Scriveners from the college, or helping the college, suffocate the Scriveners. However you want to do it, whatever. There are some weird, I'll just throw this out there as well. There are some weird things about the CG. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. It just doesn't. Right. So right now the CG is looking. Let me pull that right back up. Let it go. Looks like everybody's still at 2%. Although there's more help for delivering emergency power cells, converters, and all that. There's more people on that side of it. So
on the Scrivener side.
Right, on the Scrivener side. So let's just say, for example, that side wins. Great. How the hell are they going to deliver the stuff to the Scriveners? The Scrivener's going to shut down the rotors in the front and just drop everything in?
Feed them all.
Where are they being dropped to?
Who knows? That's exactly my point.
A station in a nearby system, I think.
There's I see what you're saying. So they're being
actually.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So they're being delivered to Oramus Terminal in HIP 43670. So I'm guessing it's just a space station.
A friendly faction.
Yeah. And from there, they'll be then transferred to where the Scriveners are. And then what?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be fed into the maw? Okay, great. So let's hope none of the commodities, I'm guessing, looking at it, 32 million commodities get stuck while they're trying to wake their way down into the storage bins. Okay. The other problem with that, so the Scriveners then use these components to fix their power problems. They get away from the Orion University. Well, Orion University never promised, hey, we'll just go ahead and let them go, right? They never said anything about that. They could just keep going after them. It won't end until they get to the knowledge core, as far as I know. It
Unless, I don't know, maybe they can justify it by saying public opinion has turned on them if this CG fails and they'll back off.
That's possible, but let's also look at it from the Scrivener's point of view. They don't know what public opinion is, what it would be.
Yeah.
They just know they're being held hostage. If I had to really throw this out of here, just really throw this out there, I don't think the CG will end. Sure, the goals could be hit 100% on either side. The problem is that CGs start on Thursday and they end officially on Thursday. We don't get updates in between Thursday to Thursday. So if 100% is met in Oramus Terminal and all these components are set out for delivery, if the Scriveners are being held hostage until Thursday before they get these supplies, they don't know what the hell's going on. What's to say, screw it, we don't know what's going on, and they, start attacking Orion University, or, moreover, self-destruct. We honestly don't know what the hell's going to happen. So that's my theory. I think it's not. personally, I could be very wrong on this, but I don't think the CG is scripted to end. But that's my hot take on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, out of character though, like so out of game, obviously it's scripted to end.
Right.
It's just you're not. It sounds like you're not satisfied with how the lore is being written here. It's not convincing that this is analogous to the story. Like the part that we're being asked to participate in is not satisfyingly connected to the actual events of the story.
Yeah, pretty much. Because stepping back, it's like, well, yeah, we can save the Scriveners, or we could just, yeah, it's kind of a weird, especially with how much the NMLA has been in the news recently. Like, really, they just overtook a megaship, and ACT sat on its hands while it, NMLA just did whatever. And of course, the message gets decoded, and that is Theta 7's location was just revealed. And well, I think if there was a time for a CG for these guys, it should have been a while ago. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. It's possible that some of the events are happening at slightly unintended times. That I would buy.
I mean, is this just filler because they don't want the whole arc to be complete? There was probably a plan.
Well, they've definitely spaced it out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, is this just random filler that they're trying to get stuff to fit in that doesn't screw up the narrative that they already had scripted out?
Oh, I'm sure some significant part of the CGs are just filler, especially the cut and paste copycat ones.
Like the Zamina Torval mining initiatives. Like, really?
Yeah.
Repeating that one especially.
Oh, my God.
Well, as far as feeding things into the dredger, that's exactly what a bunch of the players decided to do. And Canon, I was basically they urging everyone to participate in their initiative to bring commodities and feed them into the dredger so these poor people don't starve, because without their ship being able to move, they can't take in new entropy, new energy, and materials and everything, which is how their society lives. So, and then with the additional thing of trying to, who is interdicting me? The additional thing of someone trying to, God, what am I trying to say? Oh, push it into a different orbit to try to get it away from the ship that's locking its drives.
Right.
Yeah. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I guess I think it's cool. I get what you're saying though. At the same time, like it's not super satisfying in the sense that, like, well, what's to cause them from to actually follow this directive, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about it realistically. Like, how the hell are they going to do this? And leaving it there like that, like, okay, let's say the Scriveners unseal their airlocks and all that. They just still don't have any landing pads, but okay, go with that, I guess.
Shame. Well, anyway, does that bring us up to date?
That brings us up to date.
Nifty.
Except for the Theta 7 decoded message. Don't know if you want to save that for later or not, but
right. Well, no, let's do because I actually I for the sake of the notes, I just tucked that down under community columns. So the thing was, this was sort of an in-game and out-of-game thing a little bit, because what am I trying to say here? Twitter, I guess they posted on.
Right.
So being offered 750,000 credits to somebody who could decode that message.
750 million.
Oh, sorry, 750 million credits. Yeah.
And recognition.
In the recognition, of course. But the it was a tough one to crack, and also turns out that I guess we got a little hint eventually. I think Zach, somebody said on stream, kind of made a little mention of something, and that shortly thereafter, somebody thought to go look at the traffic reports in these systems. So I'm sorry, I have this written down.
There's a code based
I guess
on
all I wrote down. Yeah, so the traffic reports were sort of like strange and not expected. And so somebody was able to use that, I don't know how, I guess as a cipher or something like that, to decode it. And that was solved on the 15th. And then we have that message, which I could read.
It actually took a couple of days for people to solve it. Yeah, it was a good challenge.
On the 15th, the code has been solved. Have arrived at Panjabel. Weapons remain secure. I no longer trust our benefactors or their network. We will become invisible until the time is right to strike again.
Unless you hijack a ship and move it, but whatever.
Maybe the time was right.
So the weapons, so to define some of these things, he said the weapons, is that their caustic bombs?
Would have to be, right?
Yeah.
And their
unless we still think Theta 7 is salvation.
I don't think they're the same person.
Yeah.
I don't think we're thinking that, right?
No.
No.
And their benefactors being, who do we think that is?
No, I'm thinking the benefactors, I've heard people sort of talk like they thought that the neo-Marlinists were their benefactors, but that doesn't seem right to me, because they seem to very much not like the neo-Marlinists. Although, when did this message happen? Was it quite a while ago?
The end of July, I think.
July 31st, yeah.
Oh, so this would have been long before they felt betrayed by their benefactors and decided to turn around and bomb them, right?
Yes, it would have. Yeah,
or at least could have been. Because the thing I was thinking was whoever it was has high clearance in the Empire, who was able to break them out from that prison.
That's entirely possible too.
Not necessarily meaning that those aren't the same people, I guess.
I mean, the only major power I can think that wants to, tear down the Empire and build it back new is Aisling Duvall, but I don't think she'd go that far, especially.
But not really in alignment with them either.
Yeah, because of their attempts on her, anyways. But her and her family,
and her
wouldn't make
brother,
sense.
cousin.
Yeah, cousin and father.
Cousin and father. That's the worst.
They're going to catch Theta 7. They're going to pull off the mask, and he's going to be a Thargoid. Bum, bum, bum.
All time.
And he would have gotten away with it too.
I was thinking Scooby-Doo.
Awesome.
Reggie.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so that's what's going on with the code. So somebody got paid. Who was it? Commander Therian Signy. And they also issued some credit to whoever found the I don't have it here in front of me, but whoever found the traffic report in question that sort of clarified this all. So yeah, that's what's going on in this here story, this here game story, man. Oh my god,
man!
Just finished off this interdiction, and another one comes. Okay. Anyway, time to talk about development news. On Tuesday, Supercruise News had an issue tracker update. Go to it, boys.
Did anybody see anything even remotely interesting in that list?
I didn't even know this was updated.
Yeah, just on Tuesday.
There's just
whatever.
There's the always fun game hangs on exit sometimes, which has been around since at least Horizons.
I actually haven't seen that.
Wait, is that when the screen is just black after you quit the desktop?
Yeah.
It always does that. What?
Or the Supercruise.
It doesn't to me.
Really?
Yeah, I've never had it happen. Knock on wood.
Apparently, did I hear that they're getting close? They think they're getting close in the Braben tunnel.
I don't know.
Yeah, she did mention that in a post. Yeah.
I'm picturing Lemmy Winks. Wasn't that the South Park episode?
It says, this issue has been reliably reproduced internally by QA. Could be caused by a variety of connection issues, further investigation pending. So,
all right. Well, this
I'll
is
take
the
that
first time I've heard them say they've reliably reproduced it, huh?
They've confirmed the Braben tunnel.
The number one issue,
Braben tunnel confirmed.
Planetary features. I've been paying attention when I do planetary missions, and I haven't noticed this happening. Did you happen to notice, Chig? Or there's just like a lot of patterned planets?
No, I have not.
I thought they fixed it.
Yeah, and I went to a lot of planets and landed on them, and I didn't see it. So I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any there in this list.
Any there? What does that mean?
There's no there.
There's no there. Is that? Are you going THERE or THEIR?
ERE. There's no there.
Okay, so both. There is in
there's 20. Yeah, there's 20 items on that list.
Their possessive, their place. Got it.
Yeah, there's nothing on there that is either game breaking or, spectacularly issue resolving or.
I
totally forgot what we're even talking about now. I'm so confused.
Minor nonsense combined with performance, just overall performance forever.
So just acknowledge that they put up the updated issue list and move on.
Number 17, incorrect brightness contrast adjustment depending on angle. That's bringing to mind the old issue of space is too dark or not dark enough. They're just trying to sneak that issue in there again.
People are trying to write it in different ways because it gets pulled off the list. Isn't like the orbit lines not visible in VR? Isn't that making it back onto the list?
It's number 13. Planet and moon orbit lines not visible in the FSS when in VR.
Guys, let me just tell you. Not only has that been in the game since the FSS, like that's never worked in VR since the like it was like 1 or 2 months after I started playing, like back in like 2018 or whatever the hell that the FSS came out. When I played the game in flat screen one time and I was like, whoa, what are those? Yeah, I mean, I guess that sort of matters, but like, I don't know. It dramatically doesn't affect gameplay. If somebody was going to pay attention to something that's wrong in VR, there's like 24 other things that ought to be higher on the list of problems with VR. And I'm not even thinking about Odyssey. So anyway,
the Odyssey, I'm having fun right now. This whole ground crap I'm doing. But my favorite bug, and I hope nobody reports it, is when you land at a ground site, like an impact site or one of these signal sources, and there's
POI,
and there's bad guys there. I hop out in the SRV, just shoot them all dead from 150, 200 meters out, so I have no risk of dying at all. And then I drive up, and when I get out of the vehicle, all the bodies fall from the sky and land on the ground. It's super cool.
That's awesome.
So do they lift up or?
They look like they're laying on the ground when I pull up, but when you do the fade to black from in the buggy to out, when you respawn, they must spawn them in the air a ways.
Interesting.
It's raining men. Hallelujah! It's fucking awesome.
That was their fix to prevent them from clipping underground. Just spawn them 10 meters up in the air.
And bounce. Yeah, happens every freaking time. I chuckle every time. So I throw that in there. Oh, another on-ground Odyssey PvP. I'm just going to randomly throw in complaints. I'm going to be a Karen tonight. When you're on ground, when you're in your suit running around, there's no clock on the HUD anywhere. So in order to look at the time, I got to like go over to my other monitor to know what time it is or look at my cell phone because there's no clock in the HUD.
Back at the fleet carrier update, that's when Frontier stopped caring about the clock. They took it off of the main station or main landing pad interface. Much to the chagrin of everyone who does any races at all, and everyone instantly said, "Oh no, wait, we use that." Nope, no response. It's been almost 2 years now, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Yep. Don't care.
All right.
Don't care. So going in the wrong direction. People talk about, oh man, they should really add those racing rings. Let us use that somehow. Nope, we're moving in the wrong direction with adding features like being able to create races.
A fucking clock. I mean,
yeah, just a clock.
Give me a watch. Give me a watch. I can hit a button and it shows me my watch or something. I don't care. All right. All right. I'll come up with some more complaints as we go. Carry on.
Anything else on this list you guys want to highlight?
No. Moving on.
Is there any CQC complaints in there? Just curious. CQC Discord. I don't have it
in front of me. Should I click
CQC Discord put together just the Condor crash, Condor to desktop, we call it. And everybody was going. We all started voting for it, putting in video proof, everything else. And apparently that wasn't enough to get it on the list. So,
there aren't enough. Every CQC player could make that their issue and it wouldn't be enough.
Hate you.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So here's a good one. On Wednesday, on Wednesday, the response happened. So the CG that happened last time, I went and participated in this to get more double-engineered FSDs. There was a 3, a 4, and a 6 on offer. So we're really going to fill out most of our ships here. And I was excited because it's the best FSD in the game. And I've already bought a few extra size 5s for a few of my ships because they're fantastic. Really, really just top-notch work, Mr. and Mrs. Engineers. So these things come out, we're all excited, and people find that they're not taking the experimental effects because, of course, you get this thing and then you want to go put either Mass Manager or Deep Charge in it to really maximize that shit. So we find that does not work.
Whereas for the prior year, since these double-engineered modules have been coming out, we have been able to do that just fine.
Well, right. The original CG module you could apply it to. And so far, all of the double-engineered modules that have experimental effects, you could apply it to. And the ones you buy from the tech broker, you could apply it to. Because I've done it. And this one comes out, and nothing. It doesn't work. And it throws, what is it, just an ambiguous server error message when you do it?
Right.
Yeah. There's a transaction server error or some shit like that.
Transaction server error. Sounds good. So, then we get this reply. Let me make sure I'm reading these in the correct order. I'll have them both open. This was yesterday, 7:35 a.m. Oh, so this one's first. Okay. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so we get a response from Sally. Lots of discussion and confusion going around since the release of the CG FSD last week. So they clarify, I can confirm that it's by design that the pre-engineered modules cannot be further modified. As this FSD is pre-engineered, it falls into the cannot further modify / add experimentals category of module. And of course, we as players of the game, we know that category came into existence when she typed this message. Because while pre-engineered modules and CG modules have existed prior to now, they could all be further modified. And then she clarifies the issue server error. Action. Well, I know this will come as highly frustrating news to many of you. The team have this morning established a priority action plan to address the messaging of this to be clear. As we move toward Update 9, this action points include but are not limited to players will be prevented from selecting pre-engineered modules for further modification, so that module will be grayed out if they try to add a modification to it, and the proposal for specific indication through new iconography, so giving it a different icon to differentiate it from other engineered modules. So that was their response, and that was early in the morning over on this side of the pond yesterday. So then around a few hours later, further clarification. Future improvements made to in-game UI clarification of the inability to not sorry, I don't mean to make fun of what she's typing here. Anyway, people make typos, but anyway, the inability to further modify and add experimentals to pre-engineered model, it will not negate any previous. So now she's clarifying that the change they're making isn't going to take away the modifications we already do. But of course, by typing this, kind of makes it clear that we could do it before.
Right.
Therefore, that category she talked about a few hours prior to this doesn't really exist, or didn't then.
Right.
So I had this stuff all in the notes because we were all basically raging about it.
Yeah.
It's
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Okay,
Well,
so
really.
I'm going to tag the last little thing on here, and then I'm going to drop my little point, and I'm going to ask for comment, I guess.
Okay.
So then today, this afternoon, our time at 2:22 my time, following very recent discussions had around modification issues with the latest community goal FSD reward. There's links. I'm here to share the following update. And imminent action to follow this evening. FSD modules from the Phase 2 Colonia Bridge community goal will allow experimental effects to be applied to them for both Odyssey and Horizon commanders. So they decide to make them the same as they were supposed to be from the beginning. And then the deployment, they talk about how it's going to go down. When you do the experimental, it is going to, let me make sure I'm reading this correct. Currently, commanders online will need to log out to the main menu and back again before a sudden game client error that will appear, reported as station services error, goes away once this deployment has been made. So there's going to be some error. You may need to menu log. If you put an experiment, I think the gist of it is if you put an experimental on this thing, it will do something weird, like it might look like you've lost your engineering, but it's a visual error and you just need to menu log. So basically menu log, right. and it will work.
Before and after menu log. Yeah.
Before and after, right, to make sure that it works. Okay, great. Now, the reason this is embarrassing, and the reason that I think that there is an easy way to handle this that they're not taking. And I think there's still a communication disconnect between the development team and the CM team. And the CMs continue to just try to tell us what they are, the information they're given, and they keep, looking like ignorant fools when they're probably not. But this game has a history and a culture of things being added to it or adjusted that don't go the way they're intended. And it's sometimes admitted and sometimes not. And that's the thing that I don't get, right? Because we have this thing that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, she says that this is intentional behavior. If that's true, why didn't they say anything? It would have been easy to say something. If it's true, it makes it seem like you were trying to trick us, because you had already done this in the game for FSDs specifically, and also for other modules, and they've all been modifiable in this same way. So doing it and not saying it to us beforehand seems like a trick. But there's a whole history of things that happen where it doesn't, things are entered into the game that are not intended, but they end up being kept that way because people like it or whatever. I mean, neutron jumping, for one thing, is like a decimal point error that just had to get left because everybody was, oh, no, keep it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then why do we have this? Why do we have this crap? Like, just
and acting like they're surprised that we're confused with getting a server error. Like, we should have interpreted that as intended to say that we can't engineer this module. That's how this early post was written. Like, oh, we thought this would be clear. That meant you weren't supposed to engineer this. Sorry, you're confused.
Right. And in what universe would that be clear? Because we could totally do it with the other ones. It's bullshit. And I don't even know exactly how. Okay. So
and it wound up being okay. They wound up fixing it, right?
Right.
Just why say it like this in the first place? Why say
because
it was said?
Okay.
Tuesday morning, they came out and said, they're not supposed to be able to have experimental effects added to them. This is the way all these double engineered modules are. Wednesday afternoon, they came back and said,
which is no. Hold on. Let's just punctuate that. That's not true.
Well, but let me
get it, but it's not true.
Right. And then so yesterday afternoon they come, or was it this afternoon where they come back and say, oh no, we're going to be able to double engineer them with no further explanation about anything about why that statement was. What happened in between? What happened in between was somebody who actually plays the game told them, all the previous ones could be double engineered.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. And then there was a whole bunch of, no, really? And then they figured out, okay, well, we need to make these be further engineered too, and we'll just make a blanket statement that we're in the graciousness of our heart, we're gonna make these able to accept experimental effects too. That's what it was. It was somebody uttered something stupid to cover a bug because they didn't know what was going on. And A, we can't admit we said something stupid. B, we can't admit it's a bug. And so then they come back, and when they actually, fix it. Oh, this is the great thing we've done for you. It's infuriating. And I mean, people joke all the time about FDev doesn't play their own game. This is why they say that.
Mm-hmm. Right. It can't admit it's a bug. Like, why? On the same day that we listed, here's your top 20 bugs.
Yeah.
Are we suddenly pretending that that's it? Like they were also in that stream, I didn't even mention this, but they talked about a bunch of things that are being fixed, bugs that are being fixed that aren't on the list to show us that they care about more than just the list. They're working extra hard, and I appreciate that. Yeah. Why then do we pretend that that this wasn't a bug?
the really infuriating thing is this is just another example of a self-inflicted wound. I mean, that was a 100% avoidable mistake. Let's take a second before we answer this question and make sure we actually know what we're talking about. But no, we're not going to do that. Open our mouth and put our foot in it and then backpedal.
Do you think it's possible that the original statement that this is intended behavior is actually correct? It's just that the dev who intended it are just disconnected enough from the game that they didn't realize that they previously had intended the other thing.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Because I think, okay, all right. I need to let other people talk. So.
I'll be the first one to admit that either one is completely possible. But my thinking is they were always intended to take experimental effects. And for whatever reason, there was some problem with the way these were coded, and it was slinging an error message. Because if they were never intended to take the experimental effects, I'm thinking that early on there would have been an error message when you tried to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, I honestly think that I'm going to go even further in confidence. I think it was originally supposed to be, people were going to get a free, engineered item that was already engineered with an experimental effect. So you got a fully engineered item. Right. And somebody didn't realize that the two things that he picked were both engineering effects and one wasn't an experimental. And then they just left it in the game so you could add that experimental. And then now that they made this new one, they just, when they put it together, they wanted to not have it have an experimental and just fucked up and then didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So the whole thing's just preposterous.
Yes.
I don't buy that. I'll tell you specifically why I don't think that's the way it went down, because one of the earliest, if not the very first double engineered module was the Seeker missiles, and it was lightweight and high capacity, and it had thermal cascade on it. It actually had all three.
That's right.
And I jumped right in, me and everybody else with a brain jumped right in and changed that experimental to drag, without losing the double engineering. And it's fantastic. It's on my exploration Cobra. So that one had all three. And I don't know, somebody with a better clock. Was that the first one? It was early.
I think that was the
If not,
first
it was close. Yeah.
And the FSD would have been number 2, I think.
And on this FSD one, this last one, I mean, they said it was going to be 2 regular mods, increased range and fast boot sequence.
Which is the same as the first time around.
Right.
And there was a lot of discussion when the first one came around of, when this comes out, I can't wait to see if we can put an experimental on it. I really hope we can. Because that's going to be great. We'll be able to increase it even further. And it came out, sure enough, we could. And we all did it. It was everywhere. It was the talk of the town.
Yeah.
No excuses for not knowing that.
And then precedent was set, so everything should be that way. And no, precedent don't matter in this game. Until a few hours later when they realized that, hey, we fucked up, let's fix this. At least they fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know how to go one way or the other, but I'd say it's one of those 2 options. It was just a mistake. It should have been we should have been able to apply the experimental from the get-go, or some dev just decided to change their mind for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On this one.
So either a mistake in development that they decided to reverse own up to, they decided to claim was intentional, which is just further, kicking themselves down the hall, like, because they ought to know how everyone would react to that, or it was intentional, done by somebody who is separated from the player base enough to not realize that we all did this already and would certainly expect it to happen again. So, yeah, it really comes down to those 2 possibilities, right?
Yep. And
It's
they'll
good that it
never
got
tell us
fixed.
which it is.
No, it's good that it got fixed.
Oh, no, this is the end of it.
Yeah. This will never be spoken of again.
They should have just owned it instantly. Like, we screwed up. We'll fix it.
You know what would have been a great stream is whoever typed that code comes on, Tuesday Supercruise News. Oh, hey, guess what I butterfingered. Anyway, we're fixing it. Hey, let's talk about mission building. You know what I mean? Like, here's what else I've been working on. Holy crap! Imagine the goodwill.
Oh, it would be incredible.
Let me take 5 minutes and show you this new art asset I've been working on. Well, that's I'm mixing my departments, but you know what I mean. Like, whew, that would have been fantastic.
It could be handled, with very simple, direct communication that saves the CMs from these long-winded forum posts.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Does anybody else want to rant about that? Dubs,
thanks for fixing it about it yet?
No,
Any more beating of the dead horse?
I don't have a rant. I'm fairly content.
He's silent in his rage.
Smooth brain, no rant.
I was just thinking the stream that you were talking about could even go one step further, as if he comes on, instead of it just being fat finger, just being like, well, there's a process when we change something. We need to first check this section, then we got to change this section. Right. We got to make sure that this box is checked to make it seem, I know it's incredibly complicated, but really just show that to us.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
It is, so then, look behind the curtain, not knowing the code, but realizing, just adding one module, how many steps have to happen and how that one box wasn't checked. And it's like, it was my job to do that. I missed this one. I'm sorry, guys. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it was my job to do it. I thought it wasn't supposed to be that way. And I said it. Yeah. And the server didn't know that was happening, so it threw an error instead of saying you're not allowed to do that. We just miscommunicated on it.
George normally
does
that.
I fix it.
George normally does that, and he had tested positive for COVID, and he was at home. I don't something. Fuck. There's many scapegoats you could put this on. Not we're idiots.
That's fantastic. I like the spin.
And the irony is the one they chose is we're idiots.
It's just, the one they chose is like the player base. You are idiots. This has always been this way. Come on, guys. use your heads. You should have known this one wouldn't be that way.
That's true. The one they chose is you are idiots.
Yeah.
Ugh. None of these modules can have experimentals. Everyone looks at their ships.
You morons.
Scratch his head furiously.
Yeah. Hold my beer.
Yeah. Okay. How long have we been recording? Kind of a while, over an hour. So we didn't have a show last week, so we didn't get to talk about the engineering focused feedback request. Do you guys think we can hit this quickly? Because it's really like going away as a topic.
Yeah, we can hit this real quickly because in a show like 2 months ago, we detailed almost everything they talked about.
Yeah, that's kind of true. So, okay.
In their forum post, they listed like some, for example, here's some example of feedback that we might be looking for.
So now that this is happened like a day after update 8 or something like that. They know they want to look at engineering and rebalancing it, and they want to take it in steps. So, and specifically, Bruce mentions that on-foot engineering needs a look, but that's not what they're looking at right now. They want to look at ship engineering. So they talk about a few different things. I'm going to try to keep this short, so I'm not going to like read through this whole thing, but yeah, they offer a few things, including related to material gathering, related to ability and time required, alternate gathering methods, and then improvements and changes to the way modifications are rolled. There's a few sort of like suggestion-y things in there, and then it's just sort of open. And then they say like, feel free to like make up your own stuff, but please keep it on topic and stuff like that, because he's going to be sorting through. So this has happened, and the sorting is basically taking place right now, as we understand it. But what do we think? Shall I go down the top of the order? Bard, what would you do to ship engineering?
Well, I actually read this a while ago. One person that said, outright buy things, kind of like that idea. But there are some things in there of what they suggested that I really, really like. Having the engineers give out missions in exchange for mats, love that idea. There was also the just increasing the amount of grade 5s made available. Maybe not lock so many of them down, like what are pharmaceutical isolators, not lock those down to certain
don't exist.
Rates. Exactly. That's kind of the fucking problem.
I seen one. I seen it.
Right.
Liar, they don't exist.
Just unlocking some of these goddamn things that are just impossible to fucking find. And, just have more of them available. And the idea that when you roll for a mat, or roll for an upgrade, have it do it equally because it takes the same amount of rolls. Why play these guessing games? I love that idea.
Not randomized.
Exactly. Love that idea. There was another one. I'm looking at it right now. Let's do. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Like, either just let us buy them, or, if at least do the trading a little bit better so that the penalties aren't so damn bad on the trading, or, just give us more of them so we can actually do this. Because there are so many ship ideas I have rolling through my head all the time I would love to do, but the grind for these mats, I'm like, one day.
All right, Chig, what's your call here?
Everything they listed was like, well, yeah, we've talked about these things. I mean, the random roll thing, I was thinking on that. I don't mind the random roll, because otherwise, take 2 rolls to get to grade 5, or what, it takes 6 or 7 to go from 4 to 5 these days. So you could go just take the,
but as much as like 10 or 11 sometimes.
Yeah, well,
or I guess that's
even
completing 5.
Yeah, because I was thinking at first, okay, so let's say it takes 10, so you just go, the amount of that roll, just multiply it times 10, you do it once, and then you're full grade 5. But I like the gradients of 5. If you're super anal, you're going to do those extra little bursts. So that's one that I could take or leave. But as far as my favorite thing is, well, just, making the material trader trade at a better rate would be great. Two, actually, matching what you can get to system states, so you can actually find what you're looking for if you want to search that way rather than using material traders. Three, the engineering thing, missions from the engineers, I really like. That seems like a no-brainer to me. Getting engineering mats for the activities you like to do. Like I had mentioned when we talked about this a while ago, trading in Thargoid heart for whichever raw mat you choose, a quantity of those. That way, if you're a bug hunter, you don't have to go freaking out to the shards. You can be turning in Thargoid hearts to get what you need, or things like that. There's just ways just to reduce the grind, and they say play the way you want to play. That would allow you to play that way. The one thing I don't think was mentioned that I always say is a player economy. Let these things be sold for credits. Let's have an auction house. Let's make everything sellable that way. I know their biggest fear is that then people will be using real world money to buy credits, but that's on them to figure out ways to stop that from happening. That's not us in-game problem. That's their security problem. So I think that there could be a whole thing. People that like farming engineering mats could be converting those into credits, and those that just like earning credits could be converting those into engineering mats. So that's where I'm at.
Sure. I've heard specifically to the point of the player economy thing, Psykit was saying that she felt that if the prices are set by the game, that kind of eliminates the player economy problem, like the outside money problem.
I can't disagree with her more.
You think so? So that means like if you were to buy an engineered module, for example, the game would decide how much credits that was worth.
And then to me, that's let the market sort it out. If the price gets really high, more people will go and start doing it. So then there will be more available, and that price will come down. That the things that you could sell for more are what people will do to make money.
I don't think it's all right. I don't mean to like shit all over your opinion or anything. I don't think it's possible to prevent people from paying real world money, like for selling these things on eBay, essentially, for shorthand of that, if they can sell the price. But I guess I don't really know if that would not happen, even if the game could decide the price too. I don't know.
I think it would be even easier to sell shit on eBay, or it'd be exactly the same. Once you're able to trade things that can't be traded right now, like I go back to World of Warcraft, you had bind on pickup stuff. That stuff can't be traded. And I'm sure in this game you could have things that are, once you have them, you can't sell them. But then there are things that are going to be sellable for credits, or, it'd be credits, but then you'd be selling different types of items. I mean, World of Warcraft kept me playing for like 2 years after I quit actually playing the game, because all I did is played the auction house. I enjoyed it, buying and selling stuff. And, a lot of people worry about, let's say, people, somebody with 100 billion credits, well, they'll just buy everything up, jack the price up, and then they'll just, make all the money. Well, no, because if they jack the price up, people will see that, I could sell, an Anaconda all G5 for, I don't know, 2 billion credits, because that's what he's selling
half
it for.
Of what they're offering.
Yeah. So then you'll go and put that together and put it out there. Then all of a sudden, all that shit they bought, they're just getting undercut on. There's no way you could constantly raise the price. A monopoly just isn't possible, unless player numbers get low enough that, there's no balance. But the market sorts that shit out.
Okay. Dubs, what do you think? What's your favorites?
Oof, there's a lot I could think about that.
He just wants engineering gone.
Honestly, yeah, I really do think they should just fucking wipe the slate and make it clean. Remove all engineering, add more variety in different classes and manufacturers and types of modules that can be purchased. And I'm not completely remove engineering out of the game, but make it to where you go see the engineers and it's not something you have to grind for. Eliminate
so it's all credits?
No, not all credits. Make it things you have to get through doing missions, but eliminate the retarded numbers and the things that you have to constantly relog and grind for. Like, you should not have to sit at a crashed fucking nav beacon for 3 hours relogging to collect 50 or 80 fucking manufacturing instructions to do this one weapon or this one suit upgrade. Like, get rid of that bullshit.
Okay, but we're not talking about on foot is not right now.
Well, but the same mechanic applies.
Same mechanic.
Jameson crash site.
Yeah, Jameson crash site, going to the fucking Dav's Hope, going to HGS's and doing the fucking desktop relog or whatever. Just get rid of all that shit and just make it to where the engineer changes are just like little flavor changes. But the real difference should be they need to add more variety in the ones that you actually purchased to begin with. Add different manufacturers for different FSDs and different classes within there, to where you actually have to shop
kind of tech broker style.
Kind of, yeah.
So honestly, they need to make it more. What do you call it? What the fuck was that other game we were playing?
I mean, we just got, these starport interiors, huge ass areas that we could go store to store, browsing this manufacturer from a different one. Like, ooh, I kind of want that. Ooh, I kind of like that.
And you've already got ship manufacturers, so why can't you have a Falcon de Lacy FSD?
Basically, they need to walk on over, and I think the developers for this game need to just spend a week playing Star Citizen and see what's going on over there, guys, because that's what I saw. I played that game for about a month or so, and I really liked the way that their module purchasing and all that worked. Like, it was a good, solid foundation. And then they can go with something similar to that, and then still add the engineering, but don't make it to where it is now, to where I have to spend a week grinding it out like a mindless zombie, and then guess what? There's only really one way to engineer this stuff, or else I'm going to lose. Like, there is no thinking about it and take different paths. You basically just come up and say, "Hey, how do I engineer this?" And everyone's going to say the same thing because there's only one right answer.
Well, that's not that's true for the power distributor.
It's true for multiple things, though.
FSD.
I mean, it's not 100%. Yeah, FSD. What else are you going to do to an FSD?
Yeah,
you're going to long range
I don't engineer it at all, or I long range it.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no other options.
That's fine.
So I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do to fix it. We'll see what they do. They're not going to listen to our input anyways.
I don't think that's true. I think they actually are listening to this, but most people
their list showed that they were listening.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if they're going to listen to anything I say, go play Star Citizen.
Well, no, they're going to listen to you if you write it in that forum post.
No, don't listen to Dubs, because then every time we complain about bugs, they'll say, "Hey, go try Star Citizen, then tell me about bugs." We don't need them to have that built-in excuse.
Okay, Data, what's your engineering picks?
I will also ride hard for tying map gathering into normal gameplay. I do not enjoy having to stop playing the game for 2 or 3 days to go and gather mats, so that then I can continue playing the game. That's probably the biggest one to me.
Can I ask, because you guys have all kind of said that, so I've gotten a bunch of engineering mats while we were playing this, while we were recording this podcast, and I was doing missions. So, what do you guys mean exactly when you say tie it into gameplay? Because I actually haven't been farming in a long ass time. Now, if I needed to engineer a bunch of stuff and I needed to do it quickly, farming's there as an option, but I can get anything I need just by going around. The hardest thing, I guess, is raw mats, but even if I was just having fun driving my SRV around, I would encounter some raw mats eventually.
Yeah, but some people don't. If you bug hunt, that's the prime example for me.
Yeah, I guess out of the missions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, when you say tie it into gameplay, you mean make sure all the gameplay loops could achieve all the material.
At least in small amounts.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
And lower the requirements.
Okay. All right. So sorry to interrupt you, Data.
The only other thing I would add is for all of your hex tile material needs, you can go to Loose Screws ED www.drinkware.com.
And don't forget drinkware.
We got hoodies, we got tumblers, we got t-shirts, loose screws.
In lots of different
water bottles.
There's cheap t-shirts, there's expensive t-shirts. If you like those super soft, nice ones, we got that. If you just want a crappy one that you're gonna trick your buddy into wearing, we got that too. Yeah.
On to you, Nergal.
Nergal, what do you like for engineering? 3
quick one-sentence answers. First, I'm really happy to see FDev has listened to the podcast in the past.
Well, Bruce, who wrote this post, was actually on the podcast once.
Yeah, see?
Maybe twice.
So, 2, everything Chig said, yes. 3, I'm completely play loops because nobody likes to log to desktop to collect.
All you have to do is not log to desktop and go.
Foot is the newest thing. That's
but
the
it's
thing
still
that none of us have
applies.
done yet.
I know, but that's not what we're talking about right now. That's not what's going on right now. And on foot is, and I know just enough about it to know that it is at least twice as ridiculous as ship
But the same thing applies.
Yeah, there's still too many required, even for ship engineering.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how many wakes do I need to scan to fully outfit an anaconda for combat or something like?
Yeah, if you did not use Jameson's crash site and do the trade down and Diaguandri, like Bard said, just how fucking long would you be scanning wakes to make that happen?
It would take forever.
I was thinking about that the other day, the whole wake scanner thing. And I remember coming out of stations and scanning wakes, trying to gather stuff that way. And then somebody's like, have you done Jameson's crash site? No, what's that? Went and did that, filled all my data, and never had to think about data again. That's
just imagine if the engineering modification wasn't a 1 through 5 progression with random rolls, and they said, hey, you only need one of this ultra rare scan to get your G5 super jump fucking FSD. It's like, okay, well, I guess there's no way to grind it, so I'm just going to have to play the game. And then, oh shit, guess what? I found it this day. Run, do your engineering, you're done. No more grinding, no more loops, no more of that nonsense.
Sure.
But dude, just what if the wake scanner wasn't a module you had to put on your ship? Don't you have to put that on there if you want to go scan wakes?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's the only one. That's
how
the
much
only one that requires a module.
Yeah, it takes up a module slot. It's not a hard point. It's a utility slot, isn't it? Or is it a hard point?
And it's a power hungry one too.
Yeah, so
It's a
you're
utility
gimping,
slot,
you're gimping your ship to put that on it just to collect well, unless you're hunting, you're pirating or something, or ganking, I guess. But it's really kind of. I know if I left a station and that was a standard module and I saw a bunch of, white squares, I'd just scan them a bunch and pick up some data. Right now, I can't do that because that's an optional module that I'm not putting on my ship.
And I'm not turning around and put it on there.
Yeah, that's a detail. Okay. So I'm keyed to that. I do think that would be one addition. So I actually replied to this thread. And I would add to that, if I had it to do over, I would add that little detail. The wake scanner should be built into a ship, just like the DSS is.
Maybe not an advanced wake scanner, but still the ability to scan.
Whatever, who cares? A slow one, one that doesn't take up any extra power or whatever, because it's built into the ship. But okay, so I have the perspective that I do want changes to be sort of small and possibly incremental so that we don't go too far, because I get how that could be worse for the game. You could swing this really hard with one swift move that goes too far. So And I'm sure, like, I was certain that the opinions that Bruce got on this were going to be way stronger, nerf everything into the ground opinions than mine. So I wasn't worried about that. So basically, like, my reply was, I think there are two things that you could change that would essentially solve it. Without having to add a bunch of other changes. Now, I think the missions, like adding more missions to the game, is always a good idea. That hurts nothing. That could be a totally separate issue. Yes, the engineers should offer missions. That's great. And there should be ways to trade in, like at the engineer or something, or a trader that is going to turn things like rare commodities or Thargoid hearts or other things that you acquire through gameplay that can be turned into mats. That's a great way to achieve material hunting while you're doing your chosen gameplay, if it's Thargoids or whatever. That's a fantastic idea. But the two things that I think would solve it is the random rolls makes no sense to me whatsoever. I think I would make it so that each stage was a recipe. There's no rolls. Now, the downside to that I think Chig, one of you brought up earlier, is that then you can't do the thing where you just barely engineer your power plant overcharged for the sake of putting strip down on it. So I guess the downside is you'd have to fully grade 1 your power plant in order to do that. So I don't know, maybe not, but maybe you could just apply experimental. We could change experimental effects so you can apply them without already having to have a mod on it. That would do it.
Yeah,
because we don't actually want to overcharge things.
The
overcharge with higher heat.
Well, the negative effects, they peg out on the first roll. Like, those don't get worse.
No, they don't.
So whenever you do the engineering, like the negative effects, like it's a one-time roll. They're as bad as they're going to get, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well then fuck it. Okay, so I'm doubling down then. I think my idea was correct. Everything should be one recipe. And I guess we figure out the balancing, like to decide how many mats it takes. But by the time we get to grade 5, we should be paying, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of some important grade 5 mats. Generally, I kind of think the recipes could probably stay the same. But instead of having to do 5 or 6 or 7 rolls on grade 5, like everyone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything is click, click, click. I am making this one grade 3 now, so I'm going to roll. I'm going to give the recipe for grade 1, recipe for grade 2, and the recipe for grade 3. Now I'm done. That and the material traders rates are too steep. And that would solve all the other stuff that's on here is like, certain things are hard to find because they're tied to a BGS state. Well, the material traders rates would solve that because it's already something people do. We already like go to a specific place, farm a bunch of mats, and then trade for selenium, right? We've figured out that that's the best way to do it. If the rates are better, that's all, like nobody's going to be complaining about not being able to find pharmaceutical isolators if you can just find the core dynamics composites and trade them, and it's reasonable. If it's twice as good a rate, problem solved, because that's what we're doing anyway. Nobody's hunting for pharmaceutical isolators, right? So those two things right there. I don't think, other stuff that they mentioned was like, do you get enough when you go into an instance that has some? Yeah. If you followed my, if you followed this, if the recipes only cost 1 per grade, and you could trade them better, then yeah, you wouldn't have to be full all the time. That would make it so they didn't have to stick their fingers into as many places in the game, which is just, just asking for accidentally creating more bugs and having trouble getting things to work right. And, pretty soon the cockpit glass isn't going to look right because they tried to change where pharmaceutical isolators spawn, right? So that's my thing is like, let's try to tweak this slightly in a couple of, and I think those are the 2 places where you make the move there, then you're fine. And then I fully agree that the other addition, now I've totally forgotten it, but the addition that Chig talked me into a minute ago.
Wake scanner,
yeah, because I hadn't ever thought of that before. That's the only thing you can't collect that mat without having a certain module on your ship.
They wouldn't have to remove the module, but they could make it to where you can resolve the scan for the data without it. But then if you want to chase somebody, okay, sure, now I need a module.
Then you still have to fix the module.
At least let the ship's internal scanners. Yeah, let the ship's internal scanners. What do you call it? Read the data from the wake. Yeah.
And then that doesn't throw PvP into a further mess.
Yeah, or just make it readable from what scanner do we have on our ship already? Composite scanner or something?
Data scanner.
Yeah.
You should be able to use the data scanner on it.
Sure.
For basic.
If you're trying to acquire data. Yeah.
Since I was already sitting at an engineer, I went ahead and bought a new set of thrusters just to verify. But yeah, on the very first roll, the power draw, thermal load, integrity, and optimal mass, all that take a downtick is an instant. It doesn't even have the dotted lines to show you the progress. Like they all instantly hit maximum as soon as you roll it.
Well, that's an easy choice then.
As long as you're, at the highest reputation with that engineer.
Yeah. Well, no, no matter what your reputation is, the negative effects are only a one-time roll. The negative is what
Oh, the negative, yeah. The negative, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it seems like we got that locked up. You're welcome, FDev.
Yep, close it up, boy.
Is there a cheese this week? Are we cheesy?
Actually, I was debating between two different options, so I'm just going to go cheese. That's it this week. Stay cheesy. I've got two different longer cheese topics actually again. So yeah, we'll save them for when you're not here and I got a vamp.
2 weeks after Thanksgiving, we're gonna have an all cheese, all CQC episode.
There you go.
Cheesuki.
Yeah.
Cheesuki.
Siku cheese.
That is the title. How do you spell that?
Cheese QC.
Cheese.
QC.
Close cheese.
C. Like SI?
Wouldn't it be CGC?
I don't know what it is. It's old man bitching time is what it'll be. And then I'll cheer everybody up with cheese.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app, which helps people find the show. And you can join us in Discord at discord.io/loosescrews and check out the merch store. Where is that merch store?
Let me tell you, that merch store is at loosescrews, ED. That's echodelta.com.
And there you can find... And there you can find mugs and t-shirts and hoodies and all kinds of fun stuff.
Did GR leave early?
Yeah, finally.
GR left early. Craig's still here. It's fine.
What? It's Bizarro world.
Thanks everyone for joining me. Thanks Bard, Chig, Dubs, Data, Nergal. Fuck you, robots, who is reporting, and thank you to the robot that stuck around. Fly loose and fly screwy. See you next time.
Bye.